Everybody, it is PastyTacos here, back with another video, and today we're going to be ranking every location in Fortnite, every named location, so no Yonder Yard, no mountain with the ship on top, none of that, because that's all is not named, and in advance, sorry for the weird, like, Elgato, like, streamer mode crap that's on the screen, because I don't know why that's on there. But all this gameplay took me probably about 4 hours to get, so I really don't want to go back and do it all. So I hope you guys forgive me for that. And yeah, so this is my opinion and my opinion only. So if you really disagree with me, don't go calling around other people idiots for their opinion. I mean, don't call me an idiot either, because it's my opinion. It's a free video game, so you don't have to be going around yelling at people or yelling at me. So this video is gonna be very long. So without further ado, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. So coming in at number 19, and by that definition, the absolute worst location in Fortnite is Lucky Landing. And it's going to be a lot of the lower ranked ones. The locations aren't necessarily bad. Well, they are terrible. The loot is not bad, but the location of the actual like town is terrible. Like Lucky Landing, the loot's not terrible, right? If you're going for like a nice, slow, easy game, and you need loot, then you go Lucky Landing. Or, no, you don't go Lucky Landing, but, like, you could, because no one's going to be there, because the place is garbage. But the loot, like I said, it's not terrible. The loot's not bad. But it's the location. The location is terrible. Like, literally, it's, like, the farthest place from the middle of the circle. And when I look for a location, I kind of want the middle of the circle and a good amount of loot. So this is why Lucky Landing is 19, a.k.a. the absolute worst location in Fortnite. So, on to our number 18 spot, which is a surprise. God, I seriously absolutely hate that there's like a streamer mode on my screen right now. But like I said, I'm not going back to redo all this gameplay. So coming in at number 18 without further ado is none other than a Lonely Lodge. So Lonely Lodge is number 18 because, one, the loot. The loot's not bad, but it's super spaced out, and it's really all difficult to find and like go to. And you actually end up missing a lot of spots and chests when you go there that you don't really realize because it's so spacious and so open. But then again, there's trees blocking everything, so everything's super spread out with trees blocking it. I mean, you do have the lodge, you do have Sniper Tower, you do have, I think that's it. And then there's a Tiki Head right there, but then all the other chests are kind of just all spread out all around. So I don't really think this is the most adequate spot to land. Again, it's not terrible, but it's like, come on, it's only lodge, so that's why it's number 18, on to number 17. Alright, so coming in at our number 17 spot on the list of the best locations to land in Fortnite is Wailing Woods. And Wailing Woods is good if you need to land, let's say, for a sky base, if you're just going for like a high build game, I guess. I don't really know what that means, but it's a good spot to land if you want wood. But then again, the loot is actually garbage. This is probably the worst loot in the game. There's one maze, which the loot can be kind of ass sometimes. And then all around, there's maybe a couple cars and a couple shacks and maybe a little bit of loot. But that it's not good. It's a good place to drop unless you really want wood. But then again, there's other places that have a lot of wood, like the Resale Forest and everything like that. So I don't really think this is a very good spot to land. Hence why it's at number 17. And it's probably my least favorite location in the game, that and Lonely. But I'm kind of going by a little bit of personal preference and then like what's there. So that's why Wailing's number 17 and on to number 16. Alright, so coming in at number 16 on the list is Fleshy Factory. And again, like Wailing and like Lonely, well, Wailing and Lonely are kind of garbage. Flush really isn't, but Flush is mainly this low because of location. Like if Flush were in the middle, like Dusty is, Flush would probably be a lot higher on the list. A lot higher, hence I say maybe crack top 7, but since it's not, it's down here number 16. And the loot of Flush is not bad, don't get me wrong. I don't know if it's enough for a 4-man, just to like fully loot it up. Like, yeah, maybe you can get a couple common ARs for a 4-man, but if you're playing solo and you just want a nice, easy, smooth game, dropping Flush is probably your best bet. But yeah, like I said, location, it's not really too great, and that's why it's at number 16 out of number 15. So coming at the number 15 spot is Haunted Hills, and this is kind of where my personal preference kind of crosses with actual lootability, I guess, because I actually really like Haunted, to be honest, and I think it's a good spot to land if you just want an easy game. But again, the location's terrible. The loot's actually really decent. Like, the loot is like, it's pretty good here. Like, you can probably get like 7 chests, I think, here, which is a lot for a solo. And it's like, I don't know, it just comes down to location at the end of the day, to the point where it's like, it's not a great location, and If this were like, I feel like in the middle of the map, like kind of like I said with Flush, it would be much higher on the list and it would be a much more favored location by Fortnite players. But yeah, like I said, there's really not too much action here because the location's bad, but the loot is really good. So you're gonna start seeing a common theme where the loot's good, but the location's terrible. So on to our number 14 spot. So coming down to our number 14 spot is going to be Junction. And like I said with Haunted, you're going to start seeing a very common theme right now with locations, and that is going to be the location of locations. So Junk is great loot. I think Junk maybe is top 5 for loot in the game because there's so many. There's Junk. You have the little factories that's kind of like next to Junk, and then right after you loot those, you can hit the Rift, push Haunted, then after Haunted, push Pleasant. The routes, and then you have the llama too, not to mention that. The routes are incredible from Junk, and the loot is incredible at Junk. Again, it just comes down to the location. It's in the the most northern, I think, western corner of the map, if I'm saying that right. And it's just like, I don't know. I think, in my opinion, it's top 5 locations for me. But like I said, my personal preference is kind of getting put aside for the actual like location of the location. And yeah, that's why I'm putting it kind of low at number 14. So yeah, like I said, this is kind of where my personal preference crosses. So on to number 13. So coming in at the number 13 spot, if I'm counting correctly, I don't even know, it's 2:30 in the morning, is the Tomato Temple. And this video is being made in August of 2018. So Tomato Temple is currently just been added to the game. And I don't know if this is still going to be in the game in a week, in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But currently, I'm putting it at 13 because it's a pretty good spot. I'm not going to lie. It's not a bad spot for loot, but then again, this week, you literally land there, and there's 60-something children landing there trying to kill you. So, I don't know, I feel like when the hype dies down around it, it's going to be a pretty okay spot, you know. Kind of a quiet game. If you want a quiet game, go there, but, like, not too much at the end, because you know there's going to be at least a couple people there. But, yeah, so I just think it's a kind of cool aspect. We haven't really seen something like this, like a temple. I mean, I guess you have Haunted, but, like, with, like, the creepy stone and everything, I just think it's kind of cool, because we've never really seen something like this. But yeah, like I said, the loot's pretty good, a lot of chests, but yeah, it's kind of like tilted right now. So give it a little bit to die down. Yeah, you saw the house is still there. The house is good for loot. Yeah, but give it a little bit to die down, and the loot's really good here. So it's not terrible, but yeah, so I have it at 13. Alright, so coming in at number 12 spot, and this is kind of where the meh locations start turning to the pretty decent locations. So at number 12, we have Dusty Divot, and I like Divot mainly because it's in the middle. I think this would probably be the worst spot in the game if it wasn't in the middle. It's like a Flush Factory like type situation. Like I think Flush would probably rank about like this high if it was in the middle. But yeah, like I said, I don't think Dusty's too great. I mean, there's a lot of loot. Don't get me wrong, and there's shield mushrooms everywhere, which is a huge plus. Like literally, you can go here and your whole squad can get full shield just off the mushrooms. But then again, like, I feel like every time I go through here as a squad, no one's looted it because it's not that great of a spot. I mean, it's just in the middle, which I personally like of Dusty, and that's why it's pretty high. But like I said, the only thing it's going for is the fact it's in the middle. Like, if this were on the outskirts, this would probably be one of the worst locations in the game. But since it is in the middle and that is something going for it, that's why I have it at number 12. So on to our number 11 spot. Alright, so coming in our number 11 spot is going to be good old-fashioned Lazy Links. And Lazy Links it's pretty decent. I'm not going to lie. The location's not terrible, the old Anarchy spot. I mean, you usually don't have a circle, but it's not too far from the middle. But the thing about Lazy is, I feel like every time I drop here, I don't get a gun. Like, I feel like the loot here is not too great. And it's pretty good if you're, like, just your squad. Like, if you're just your squad's running up in here and maybe a couple of other teams, it's not terrible. But then it's the actual, like, country club itself is not too great for loot. I mean, it's not bad, but then everything else is so spread out. Like, you have, like, all the golf courses you see here, everything, all spread out. And there's a bunch of shacks and everything that do have guns, ATKs. And that's another reason why this spot's pretty high up on the list is because the ATKs are everywhere. So, yeah, the loot's not too great. It's very spread out, but it's not a terrible spot. Like I said, this is kind of the good spots start to come in at number 11. So, on to our number 10 spot. Alright, guys, coming in at our number 10 spot, I hope at least, if I'm counting around this whole time. So, at number 10, right, we have, what's it called? What am I blanking? Risky Reels. Jesus. So Risky Reels. I actually really like Risky Reels. It's probably in my top 3 for my favorite spots. But then again, like I said, I'm putting my personal preference aside. It's a great spot. This is where like the spots are becoming pretty good, like in my opinion, for this ranking. So like I think Risky's really like it's a good. I honestly think it's a better addition than Divot. Like when they added season 4, I thought it was better than Divot because there's a lot of loot here, right? And the fact there's a lot of loot, you can loot up an entire 4-man, and you guys all can have pretty decent loot. And a lot of people actually drop here. Like, I'm being dead serious. Like, you'd be surprised the amount of people you see dropping here, which is why I like it, because it's a pretty good spot. You got some pretty good action. You got pretty good loot. And overall, I just think it's a good spot. I mean, the location's pretty terrible, but then again, you have the Stonehead by Tomato if the rifts aren't taken. And, yeah, like I said, the location's not terrible, but there is kind of a drawback to it, which is why it's kind of lower. But then again, great spot, great loot, get some kills. So this is why Risky is coming in at number 10. On to number 9. Alright, everyone. Coming in at our number 9 spot, the first single-digit spot, is Shifty Shafts. Shifty's not bad. It's really not bad. The loot here is pretty decent. It's not the best loot. Like, I personally think Risky is better loot. But the location's so good. You're literally right next to Tilted. So what me and my friends do, we land Shifty, and then we loot up at Shifty, get 100 shield, get some decent weapons. And right after that, we push Tilted. And I think if Shifty were just the loot in the location without the mines, it would be like top 5 because the loot's great. But the mines do kind of balance it out to where it's kind of harder to find the loot. You got to explore the mines. You can hide in the mines really easily. So, like I said, the loot here is pretty decent at Shifty, and like I just like the location of it. That's why it ranks above all the other spots, because the location of it's really like the biggest factor for me. And you got the houses right here, which are two sets of pretty darn decent loot, which can really help your squad out and set you guys up. So like someone can land houses, someone can land, other people can land shafts, and like there's so many endless possibilities here where you can push like Tilted and everything, kill the winners as Tilted, which like I said 4 times already. This is why it's ranked so high up, because of the location of it and the endless possibilities of where you can push, what you can get, and everything. So I hope you guys agree with this, and if you don't, you don't. And on to our number 8 spot. Whenever this clip wants to end. So coming in at our number 8 spot is Snobby Shores, and the loot here is incredible. Like, don't even get me started. The loot here is just amazing. In my opinion, this is like Pleasant Park on steroids for the loot. You got 5 huge mansions, which are pretty much 2 houses in one, and the loot's great. Everything about this place is great, except one big factor, which is why it's kind of lower on the list. It's still pretty high up, but it's lower than it should be on the list. The location. The location of Snobby Shores is probably the worst location in the game besides Lucky Landing. You are literally in the farthest, most western point of the map. So then, when Circle comes, you have to leg it all the way to Circle and hope there's still rifts on the side of the mountain right there by the soccer field. Because if there aren't, that's a far run. You have to make the Circle if Circle's not on you. And like I said, the loot here is phenomenal. This place is like Pleasant Park on roids. But like I said, I'm kind of balancing location and loot and everything in one, and this place is so loot heavy. Like the loot here, it's so good. Dude, this place was in the middle, would be number 1 without a doubt. But it's just I can't just do it. I can't do it with the location. I can't put it any higher. So let me know what you guys think about this, and on to our number. So I'm just realizing that on my last clip I said on to my number 8 when this is actually my number 7. So on my number 7 spot, or onto my number 7 spot, we have Greasy Grove. And Greasy Grove is the OG Tilted Towers. One of them at least. There's the big 3, which I'm not going to say, which you should be able to know if you played during Season 2. But Greasy Grove used to be popping. This place used to be lit. Like Tilted, there was always like 10 teams here. Everybody would go crazy. You'd have crazy firefights. And now it's dead. There's no one ever here. You can land here by yourself in a solo, and I guarantee you nobody will be here. Maybe one other person max. Which is kind of what brought it down a little bit. I mean, I personally think that if this place had more people going here and it was more lively, it would be higher ranking, because the location's not terrible. Don't get me wrong, it's not a great location. But you do have the rifts at the Tiki Head, which are right next to it, which really help you out with the movability to the storm. But, like, I don't know, it's just so dead. It's great for loot. It's so good for loot. It's great for loot. You have all the houses, the gun shop, you have everything, the Durburger. But then, it's like, there's no one else here. So whenever you drop here, you're not really going to get a high kill game. When you think that a lot of people would drop here because the loot's so good. I don't really know, my C4 didn't do any damage to that wall. It doesn't make any sense. But like, I don't know, it just doesn't really set right with me how little people go here anymore. So that's what kind of brought it down a little bit. Because that may sound kind of weird because like you think you don't want people to go there so you can survive longer. But then again, it's like, I don't know, this place used to be lit and now it's kind of dead. So that kind of brought it down a little bit. But yeah, it's still a great spot, don't get me wrong. And this is kind of where the good spots turn to the great spots. So onto our number 6 spot, my bad. They said I might be crazy when I was ranking Fatal Fields at my number 6 spot. Hear me out, boys. Hear me out. I love the setting of where Fatal is. It's like this, like kind of like, it's like this bluegrass type farm, and I don't know. It's just like it's the other farm. I mean, Anarchy's gone, so you kind of have to give Fatal some props. I mean, Fatal is an OG spot, and you gotta give it some credit because it's a farm. It has great loot, and it's not even that terrible location because you can just move up, push salty. So the routes when you drop Fatal are really endless, right? And the loot here is great, given that it's really spread out. And whenever you land here with a squad, it feels like someone always dies and gets thirsted. But then again, the loot's pretty decent. It's very spread out, and the location's not terrible. And I don't know, I just like the setting of Fatal. You have the 2 forests on the left and right of it. You have the rock mine, and then you have the secret spot, which is all the houses that are all abandoned. It's like the giant row of houses that are abandoned, kind of in between Salty and Fatal. So you can push those, hit that, loot up here. You might see a couple people here, but it's usually it's dead kind of. But then you have the 2 silos that you can loot. So overall, the loot's pretty good, and then the routes you can push are great as well. So that's why I like Fatal, because there's a lot of possibilities after you loot Fatal, like the broken houses, the forests, everything. And it's an OG spot, so that kind of puts some respect on the name, which is why I'm giving it a number 6 ranking over some other places. So on to our number 5 ranking, which is probably a surprise for most of you guys. To be honest, looking back, it's probably not much of a surprise to you guys, but number 5 is Paradise Palms, and it is 5 for a couple of reasons. One, it's brand new, and I haven't really had too much time, not even a full season to play with it yet. So I don't really know any of the spots really, like where to land, get loot up really fast, which houses to push right away. There's stuff like that in general, and it's a good spot, don't get me wrong. But then again, it's having the Dusty Divot problem, the Risky Reels problem, which I haven't really mentioned too much in this video. But that's the fact that people will go there for 2 weeks when it's new, and nobody will ever go there again. Which is kind of annoying, because you think this is like the next Tilted Towers. Like, I feel like they added this to try to, like, take a lot of the pressure off Tilted Towers. But it doesn't do that, because nobody goes here anymore. This place is dead. Like, if you go here, you maybe see 4 or 5 people going here. If the bus is on it, maybe you'll get, like, 6 or 7 if you're lucky. But, I don't know. It's a good spot. Don't get me wrong. The loot's great, and you have all the rifts, so the location's not too terrible. And this place is ATK heaven. Oh, my gosh, an ATK around every freaking turn you do. Yeah, so the loot's good, the location's not bad because you have all the rifts, and it's a great spot. But then again, in general, it does suffer from the Dusty Divot problem and the Risky Reels problem, which brings it down kind of low. So on to number 4. But none of you guys ever guessed that this place would be number 4, Resale Row. And you guys all probably did guess this because it's like there's only 3 other spots left. But this place is just great. It's an OG place. You know, this was like the Tilted before Tilted, and it kind of put some respect on the name, not gonna lie. But it's a great spot. You have the gun shops, you have the Bass Pro shops, you have the detective agency, which are just 3 great loot spots, and they're all right next to each other. Then you have the water tower, which a lot of people like to hit, the little water tower shack right there. Then you got Doghouse, you got the broken houses, you got the White House, the Red House, and there's so many endless possibilities of where you can loot here. I just think it's great. Like I said, you have the shops, you have the houses, and there's so many of them too. What is it, like 6 houses and 3 shops? I just think it's great. Like the amount of loot you can get here, and you can actually get some action too. It's pretty decent action. So that's why I have it ranking up pretty high on the list at number 4. And it's a great spot for a squad to land up with your squad, and you just need to loot and some kills. So that's why it's at number 4. On to number 3. So coming in at number 3, and this is probably the biggest shock for a lot of you guys, is Tilted Towers. And you guys all probably thought Tilted was going to come in at number 1. Psych. Tilted is not going to be number 1 because 3 reasons. 1, everybody and their grandmother goes to Tilted. 2, I feel like every single time I drop Tilted, I either A, don't get a gun, or B, get a gun and get 10 kills. And C, I feel like Tilted kills the game. I really do. I feel like there's no other spot to go but Tilted. Like when you want high kills, everybody's trying. If you want high kills, you have to go Tilted. You don't have a choice because pretty much half the lobby goes Tilted, right? And I don't know really how they could fix this either, but it's a great spot at the end of the day. You know, it's Tilted. Look how much loot there is. Why do you think half the lobby goes here? You could loot up 3 squads here with phenomenal loot. I mean, great loot, and you still would have more loot for others. And it's a good spot. It has very long sight lines, windows. So you got to be careful when you're walking. You get sniped from a window, and I like it because it's like a noob can go here to practice the game and get better, and a pro player can go here just to destroy people because there's a lot of action. It's really chaotic, but then and also the location's great. Like I said, location's a big factor when I'm ranking these. Tilted's literally smack dab in the middle of the map, and that's a great location for a great place with great loot. And this is why you never ever see Tilted completely unlooted, because either A, someone's ran through here before, or B, it's just a good spot to go. And like that's why you see a lot of the pro players go here, because there's a lot of kills, a lot of loot. It's right in the middle too. So this is why Tilted's coming in at number 3, which might be a little bit of shock to you guys, but I think you guys can guess what the number 1 and 2 spots are going to be, because process of elimination, it's kind of easy to figure them out. So on to 2. So coming in at our number 2 spot is going to be Pleasant Park, and Pleasant Park is just an OG spot to land. Great loot, great everything, great action, great fun, great location, great everything, all around. And I really like Pleasant Park because, like I said, it's an OG spot to land. I mean, there's a lot of houses, and a lot of very viable houses too. Like you could pretty much land anywhere in Pleasant Park, and you'll get a decent amount of loot. You get probably some shield, a couple guns, and then you push out and fight. And there's a lot of fighting going on here too. It's a very lively place, which I do like. I do like a lively place. So it's like, I don't know, I feel like I hate to say it's Tilted's little brother action-wise. Like there's a good amount of action here, and a lot of people do land up in here because it's a good spot. And I do like the house layout more than the Tilted layout, to be honest, because I feel like it's more Fortnite-y. But then, like I said, there's so many different viable spots where you can land here. This is like Tilted too. There's so many different viable spots where you can land. And this is kind of why it gets a really high ranking on the list, because 1, it's OG, 2, there's so many viable spots to land, and 3, the location's not terrible. And yeah, like I said, there's a lot of action here. There's a good amount of action. There's a good amount of loot to balance that action, and it's like I feel like you can land Pleasant over and over again and still not get bored. So that's why Pleasant's coming in at number 2. I'll repeat it again because it's OG. It's a great spot to land. Good loot, good action. So yeah, that's why Pleasant's coming in at number 2. So on to our little word before number 1. Alrighty, boys. Our number 1 spot is the good old-fashioned drumroll, please. Salty Springs. And Salty Springs is the best location in Fortnite. Do not at me, because it's literally smack dab. This is the most middle of the map place you can get. And the loot here is freaking phenomenal. There's so many routes you can do. Your teammate, all your team can get looted. You can get a lot of kills here because everyone likes going here because it's a great spot. There's apples everywhere. See, what I personally like to do is I like to land Small House, which is right here, Small House, this one right here, the very small one. And then I like to push Blue House, and Blue House is great. Blue House is like 4 houses in one, the basement and everything. It's phenomenal. So the loot here is great, don't get me wrong. The location is also great, but there's not too much loot. That's what I like about here. Like, I feel like Tilted might have a bit too much loot. Like, you can walk out of there with a gold scar, full shield, everything. But this place, you kind of have to, like, fight with what you have. But the loot is still good. Don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of chests everywhere, but it's not overflowing with loot. And like, it's the same thing that goes for players. Like, there's a lot of players here, don't get me wrong. A lot of players like to drop here, so you do get a good amount of kills. But it's not overflowing. Not that half the lobby is dropping here. So I just think it's such a balanced spot. And the location's great. The location's... I can't remember the last time I didn't have a circle on me when I was in Salty at the beginning. You have circle almost every time, feels like. So your team can get set up. You can get set up. You're in a solo. And you don't really have to worry about the circle too much because you're right dab in the middle. And that's a good thing because, like I said, it's like perfectly balanced for everything. So that's why I think Salty's in number 1. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about what's your number 1 spot. And I'm going to have a little afterword about Loot Lake, because I know a million people are just screaming Loot Lake, Loot Lake, Loot Lake. So on to that. Alright, boys, quick afterword about Loot Lake. Loot Lake is the absolute worst location in Fortnite. It's so bad. And that's why I didn't rank it on this list, because I, in my opinion, do not even think it deserves to be a named location. So that's why it's not on the list. I don't even consider it a named location. I don't consider it to be on par with any of these. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys are new, please subscribe to the channel. Drop a like. This video probably freaking took me, 5 hours, 6 hours to make. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a great day, guys. Be safe. Peace out.